day, everyone. We are the Group 3, and our topic is all about development of research instrument. A research instrument is a survey, questionnaire, test, scales, rating, or tool designed to measure the variables, characteristics, or information of interest, often and behavioral or psychological characteristics. Research instrument can be helpful tools to research. So, um, so when we say research, it is something that kanang maguna-una jud nato maunahan is kay more on experimental of any bodies yun siya, etc. And then kung moingon tag instrument, mauni siya ang mga tools nga makatabang nato, especially kung maghimo tag study about research. What is the importance of research instrument? So, the data that is collected is only as good as the instruments that collects the data. A poorly designed instrument will lead to a bad data, which will lead to bad conclusions. Therefore, developing a good instrument is the most important of conducting a high-quality research study. So, unsa ba gayud ang importante kung maghimo tag research? So, kinahanglan mag-collect tag data instrument para maka-create tag design with the help of research instrument. So, therefore, kung mag-develop daw tag mga maayo og dili maayo, wala jud mapurma nga research. And we should always put in our mind that that when we conduct a research study, dapat this is a high quality study. So that was the importance of research instrument.
My report, what do you think is the importance of using a research instrument that is aligned to your research problem? So they are important in collecting data in all types of research methods. They are mainly used by researchers to collect reliable data which will later be analyzed. They include questionnaire, interviews, observations, focus group discussion, and experiment. Research instrument is part of methodology. It is very important for entire research because this is where researchers can find precise information regarding the subject matter.
Concept identification is very important in that very early design stages of an idea. The concepts are defined and identified to follow a correct research and design path. So, ang concept identification kuno ka-importante kaayo because some of researchers are work on concepts as it requires to be investigated and to understand it and identify such a research problem through our observation and knowledge. So, sayo pa lang naana gyud tay mabuo sa ato mga utok nga mga idea kung sabto nang jud nato ang ato research. Ang concept ay may tinukoy at tinutukoy nga dapat nato sundon ang saktong pamaagi sa pagbuo sa ato mga logically ideas labi na sa pagbuhat sa research. So, according to Golnaz Arjun from University of Oslo, to study concept of identification is no preliminary work in the specified area. Starting with interpretative phenomenological analysis could be a great start. So, ana si Golnaz Arjun from University of Oslo nga ang pag-study sa concept of identification is walay given or stated na work in the specified area. Ang interpretative phenomenological analysis ay magiging isang magandang simula. So it is an in-depth qualitative research method which can be ideal if you are the one who will start a specialized project from scratch. In this methodology, you spend time with people and focus on their life experience, and studies with high judgment impact could be a great starting point. So, interpretative phenomenological analysis is to help us understand the meaning of people's lives experience and study explores what people experience and focuses on their experience of phenomena. Ug usa kini sa mga mag-lead nato kung unsa ta ka maayo mangitag pamaagi pagka-creative or mga idea nga manggawas labi na sa pagbuhat sa ato mga projects, ug kini nga method ako kini og impact labi na nato nga mga estudyante ug daghan patag makatunan maagi ani.
Item construction. This means any such items or materials used in construction and which is procured directly by the public authority, commonly used in construction which is procured by a person other than a municipality under construct with a public authority or office. So, item construction daw is commodities or service that involves in the process of building, designing, altering, or repairing a public structure or building, other improvement to any state property. So, as far as I understand and based on my uncle who works for a construction and electrical company, before they can erect a building, they will need to obtain permits from a public authority in order to legally construct a building. And the public authority will also serve as the people's representative in case they have a complaint about the building being built, and if they think that the construction of the building will not be dangerous.
Validity testing is the extent to which a test such as chemical, physical, or scholastic test accurately measures what it's supposed to measure. In the fields of psychological testing and educational testing, validity testing refers to the degree to which evidence and theory support the interpretation of the test scores entailed by proposed users of tests. So when we say validity, it means tinuod, sakto, masaligan nga information nga imong gikaalap. So, it refers to the characteristic the test measures and how well the test measures that characteristic. So, it's like vice versa. Validity refers to how accurately a method measures what is intended to measure. Unsa ka tinuod, unsa ka masaligan ang imo data information that you use if you having a research. So it means makasulti ka nga tinuod ba ni or dili, or nag-support bag lig-on nga ebidensya na makasulti ka nga ay wa nigi dili ni bias, dili ni kuan buot-buot lamang.
Level of measurement or skill of measurement. It is a classification that describes the nature of information within the values assigned to variables. Psychologist Stanley Smith Stevens developed the best-known classifications with 4 levels or skills of measurement, which are nominal, ordinal, internal, and interior. This framework of distinguishing levels of measurement originated in psychological and it is widely criticized by scholars in other disciplines. Other classifications include those by Mosteller, Turkey, and Chrisman.
Questionnaire construction refers to the design of a questionnaire to gather statistically useful information about a given topic. When properly constructed and responsibly administered, questionnaire can provide valuable data about any given subject. So, kaning questionnaire construction daw kay mao daw ni siya ang questionnaire na mag-gather og mga statistical na useful na mga information about sa ihatag na topic. Then, to construct properly and responsibility, the questionnaire can provides daw og mga valuable data about sa gihatag or mga nagkalain-lain nga subject.
Data collection is the process of gathering and measuring information on targeted variables in an established system, which then enables one to answer relevant questions and evaluate outcomes. Data collection is a research component in all study fields, humanities, and business. While methods vary by disciplines, the emphasis of ensuring accurate and honest collection remain the same. The goal for all data collection is to capture quality evidence that allows analysis to lead to the formulation of convincing and credible answers to the questions that have been posed. Data collection and validation consist of 4 steps when it involves taking a census and 7 steps when it involves sampling.
Example of data collection in the biological sciences, Adelie penguins are identified and weighed each time they cross the automated weigh bridge under 2 hours from the sea. So, ara kitay example sa data collection nga amo aning adult penguins are identified and yes, and then so kung mag-collect daw tag data is kinahanglan daw kita mag-process na sin mag-provide sin baseline from certain cases and indication of what to improve. So regardless of the field of study of preferences for defining data, quantitative or qualitative, accurate data collection is essential to maintain research identity. The selection of appropriate data collection instruments, existing, modified, or newly developed, and delineated instructions for their correct use reduce the likelihood of errors. Okay, so ang formal data collection process is necessary as it ensures that the data gathered are both defined and accurate. So this way, subsequent decision based on arguments is embodied in the findings are made using a valid data. So the process provide both a baseline from which to measure and in certain cases an indication of what to improve. That's what I said earlier.
If we are going to talk about data collection methods, what is it? There are 5 types of data collection. The first is closed-ended surveys and online quizzes. Closed-ended surveys and online quizzes are based on questions that give respondents predefined answer options to opt for. There are 2 main types of closed-ended surveys, those based on categorical and those based on interval ratio questions. The second is the open-ended surveys and questionnaires. Opposite to closed-ended are open-ended surveys and questionnaires. The main difference between the two is the fact that closed-ended surveys offer predefined answer options the respondent must choose from. The third is one-on-one interviews. One-on-one or face-to-face interviews are one of the most common types of data collection methods in qualitative research. Here, the interviewer collects data directly from the interviewee. The fourth is the focus groups. The focus group data collection method is essentially an interview method, but instead of being done one-on-one, here we have a group discussion. The 5 is the direct observation. Direct observation is one of the most passive qualitative data collection methods.
So techniques in collecting data. It is the between data that are solicited and data that are spontaneous in experiments, surveys, and much qualitative research. The researcher uses as stimulus experimental variables, survey questions, or open questions. To elicit information from the research subjects, explicitly soliciting information has the advantage that the researcher can design the data collection to optimally provide data given the research question. However, the disadvantage is that the researcher subjects are aware that they are taking part in a scientific study. So, dapat kuno ang researcher aware sa mga advantage o disadvantage sa mga subjects nga mga scientific study. So data collection technique often follow those used for other kinds of oral histories. Although some novel methods are used as well, many ecological oral histories follow technique used in oral history and therefore used in tipped, semi-structured individuals. In this type of interview, the researcher develops a set of questions to be asked. but does not specify the order in which they will be asked. So, ang techniques ko no when we conduct a data collection magamit og histories or oral histories, mga novel methods og mga ecological oral histories. Therefore, kung mag-ask daw og questions, dapat i-specify ang order nga ila i-asked para masabtan gayod.